Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Thirsty Thursday live stream. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the views and getting to 92,000 subscribers, 8,000 away from the silver button. So I'm super stoked about that. So thank you guys for all the support. So today we're going to be talking about how to get into pen testing, or someone that's special getting into the world of cyber and getting into pen testing. So we're going to invite her in shortly. So if you guys are new to the stream, subscribe to the channel, watch the stream, share it, and all that good stuff. And let's have some fun. So I want to welcome Mikayla. Hey,
Hello. Hey,
how's it
Pat, how are you?
going? Good. Yourself?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome. Try to get all this stuff sorted out. Awesome. Yeah. So for those people that don't know who Mikayla is, if you just want to introduce yourself, see what, tell them what you're up to and what's cooking on your end.
Sure. I'm Mikayla, but I go by Kay. I'm a pen tester, red teamer. Just got finished obtaining the OSCP. Now working on the PMPT. Just trying to get better every day, and in hopes to get better so I can get into web app and get better in that. But that's pretty much what I've been doing. After the PMPT, looking forward to Hack the Box, cracking boxes, and then DEF CON, of course.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be talking about some conferences and DEF CON. So you just obtained, obviously, congratulations on the OSCP. That's super cool, and it's a big achievement, especially for those that are trying to get that. With that being said, what was your experience like for those, or for that person that says, "Fuck, I'm scared of it"? But were you scared? How was it for you, and what was your experience?
Sure. So thank you for the congratulations. That was well deserved, well earned. I was scared of the OSCP as well. I think everyone in this industry is scared of that. Just those four letters is scary. So I actually wanted to go after it in 2021. I think I was in my own way, was scared. And then eventually I was like, you know what, I got to take it. So around February, the second week of February, I started every single day, 4 hours to 5 hours a day, weekends, 8 to 10 hours. Sometimes I went as long as 16 hours. It was a sacrifice. When my friends were out having a good time, I was in the house. It was a lot of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this, I didn't know that. I thought I was good. And then you realize it will humble you. One day you're happy. The next day you're like, oh, I'm not ready for this exam. So 15 and a half weeks of pure studying to obtain it. And then exam day did not go as planned either, but I got it.
So yeah, so you passed on your first go.
My first try, yes.
Awesome. So, without, divulging as much as or as little as you want to, how was the difficulty for it? Like, what is it? They say it's for an entry level. You said it's 15 weeks, not 4 to 5 hours per day studying, and then 8 to 16 hours on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of stuff, right? A lot of studying time. So how difficult was it, like in the regards of, like, I want to go take it? How long do you think someone that's green, you weren't green before that, right?
No. I think that beginner level cert is not beginner level at all. I think the only reason why I was able to get it in 15 weeks is due to my experience, my background of pen testing, vulnerability management, and just being in a work environment of seeing red teaming, web app, and understanding it in that realm. So I think that's what helped me for 15 weeks. But someone green, I would definitely say 6 months to a year. And before you even buy the OSCP, I would definitely be like, go start a try hack me. It's
Yep.
not a beginner. I don't believe it's beginner friendly. If it was, I don't think it would be on job applications with 200K next to it if it was beginner friendly. But it's definitely hard. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely give it, with the studying, 6. Not to another question you asked, I want to answer. Not to tell the exam. I would say it doesn't matter how much you study. What you see on that test is not anything that's on OffSec's platform. I will say that. So you would
Cool.
need to study.
Yeah. And so you said try hack me, hack the box. You were cracking boxes to get prepared for this. And so what would be the best way to approach it? So I don't know if OffSec do you have to buy their study, or like, can you study on your own and then just say, I want to go take just the exam? I don't know how they do
I
it.
think they make you buy their study material.
So you can't just buy the exam voucher.
No.
Okay, that sucks. Yeah. So from what you studied there, you said you didn't find a lot of things very useful.
No. I would say that it's better than the 2021 version of the Pen 200 that it is today. I just feel like it's out of order. For instance, like you learn SQL injection before you learn how to fix exploits or how to search for exploits. I feel like that should be number one before we are going into SQL injection. Also, they
Yeah.
teach pivoting, but they don't go into depth of pivoting. And that's something very important, especially with AD, you have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it was very bland and you need more substance to be able to even grasp the topics they were discussing in the material.
Cool. And now we'll transfer to like the PMPT, and we are team partners with another fella.
Yep.
So as you going through like the PEH course and all the 5 courses that TCM is offering, how do you think that's lining up? Obviously, we haven't taken the exam yet, but how do you feel that's lining up? Because obviously TCM is very good with what they're teaching is what's going to be on the exam, and I can vouch for that for the PJPT. And I said in my review, you don't need, and that's one thing. I'll say it live. I'll say it again. I don't like when, if I'm asking a question, for an example, like for the OSCP or the PJPT, I'm going to talk about ones I took. And so I say, okay, like what do I need to study, right, for the PJPT? I'm not going to say the whole, everyone says the whole PEH course. You don't need the whole PEH course to do the PJPT, right? You just need the AD section.
Correct.
Heath, I love him to death, but you don't need to learn Python. You don't need to learn all this web app stuff. You don't need to learn all that shit to do the PJPT,
Right.
So for like the PNPT, obviously they say go through this 5 courses. How do you feel so far with the training from TCM that's lining up with hopefully the exam?
So for me, I think I already told you this privately, but I always thought TCM's material was always great. I'm not going to even lie to you. I used some of their material for my OSCP training, like their Windows and Linux Priv-esque. I think he explained it so much better. I was going to say something, but I don't think I can say it because it's on the OSCP. But there's something that he does in his Windows Priv-esque that I actually had to use to get Priv-esque on one of the boxes on OSCP. So I would say definitely watch that. But when it comes to PMPT, I do feel like it's repetitive just because I went over such an extensive training of AD. Also, externally, you have to get into the AD box externally for the other tests as well. So I kind of feel confident. I think the OSCP has probably helped my confidence for this test, but I do think I think you need the AD section for PEH if you are experienced for the PMPT. And I think that external pen test playbook, I think that's very important. Going over that last night.
Yep.
Very interesting. I can't wait to finish that. That was a really, really good course. But other than that, I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's see. Just want to make sure. So working as a pen test, like what made you so interested in hacking? Like, why did you get into this industry versus something else?
So that's a very funny question. So I actually went to college to be an anesthesiologist. So my 3rd year of biomedical science, that was my major. I was in inorganic chemistry, and I literally walked out. I grabbed all my stuff and I left. I was done. I was mentally drained. I was tired. I was starting to have like anxiety about it. Started to consume my life. So I left. I went down to the counselor's office in college and was like, look, freaking change my major to business. I'm gonna graduate next year. I'm tired of this. And she was like, no, let's take a career aptitude test. So I took a career aptitude test, and to a big joke in my face, number 1 was a doctor. So she was like, you're doing the right thing. I'm like, no, that's not for me. And number 2 was cybersecurity, something where I can be analytical, where I can search for things. And that was on there. It was like, I think it was computer engineering. So that's what I did. I decided to come back home to Maryland. At the time I was in North Carolina. I came home to University of Maryland, transferred there, and I double majored in computer networking engineering, and then I did cybersecurity. I knew I wanted to hack. I just didn't understand the name of it because in college, you're just learning. You're not really into the field just yet, especially at the time I graduated. I'm not gonna put my age out there, but
Yep.
Once I got into the field, I started on the low end. I did the ladder that everyone talks about, starting at service desk and then working your way up. I did it that way. So I was strategic. I was fresh out of college with no experience. I just applied to every company that had a help desk, also that had a cybersecurity team, because I knew I was confident in myself enough to know if I can get in the help desk, all I need to do is get on the phone with one person and I can change my life. I can get into cybersecurity. And honestly, that's what I did in 6 months. Being on that job, I got on the phone with a very important person in cybersecurity, loved what I did, sent in my resume, and I was promoted to a vulnerability management analyst in cybersecurity working inside the SOC. Once in there, learning vulnerabilities day in and day out, I was curious of how to exploit them. At one point, I'm like, okay, what is this vulnerability? What does this do? You know, just very green, excited, passionate, just asking a bunch of questions, which led me to, he's probably watching today, Preston Thornburg. He was the pentester at my company at the time. And he literally came to me and said the 4 letters, OSCP. He said, get that. I got it in 6 months. He got it in 6 months. He was green and he said it would change your life. That's how I got into it. I started with the CEH practical, which was a 6-hour hacking exam. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And after that, I applied. I got out of my job as a vulnerability management analyst. They put me into the application security team and I learned API pen testing. So that's how it all started.
Nice. Yep. That's pretty cool. So do you feel, so, you know, for the specializations, right? So say, for example, like someone wants to get into pen testing, and do you feel as though it's important to specialize, or do you feel as though like once you're, you know, I'm a brand new pen tester, do you feel like you're going to be stuck on something like, okay, because we, at least from my come up, we always say the same thing, right? Oh, you're going to learn, you know, we're going to put a beginner on externals, you know, have them learn how to, you know, use all the external reconnaissance and et cetera, et cetera. And then once you have a good grasp of that, then you know, stick them on some internals, because internals, you know, it's a free for all, you know? Right. So how do you feel like with that? Like what would be the advice that you would give someone that's, you know, green, the help desk, maybe they got into VM management as well, and now they wanted to get into pen testing? Where should they start? Like the easiest path?
I think that's a good question. I think every path is different. And I think when I started back in 2018, it is very different now. It evolved so much and you could do so many things to get into pen testing. I want to answer your first question first, which was, should you specialize? At first, about 2018, 2019, I would have said yes, specialize in network, specialize in web apps, specialize in API. But now red teaming is taking over. Like that's the concept of a penetration tester. That's a theme of, you know, of penetration, which is red teaming. I would say be a jack of all trades within pen testing. So don't specialize, but I think they should start with learning. I would say start at the foundations. It's going to suck, but go and try Hack Me and look at the junior penetration testing role and learn. Just learn the basics. Learn ports. Learn why they're important that they're open. Learn why they're on the system. I would start there, work my way up to hack some boxes first, and then see what jobs want from you, and then find an interest. Don't just do it for money. Don't just do it for a title. Because at the end of the day, this is a job you have to get up and do every single day. So make sure that this fits you, because it does get boring sometimes. I wish people understood that pen testing is not always fun. It's stressful sometimes. It's fun sometimes. It's boring sometimes. And, you know, I would say just start with the basics and don't be discouraged when you see someone else post something that you want. Just keep going. You'll get there eventually.
Yeah. And you said something really interesting. Like sometimes it gets really boring. People think as a pen tester, you're just hacking things all day long. No, sometimes like you're researching, you're writing reports, you're finding things. Like it's all, you know, good in the hood. Like soon I want to be helping on a web app test. I think July 1st next week with the company that, you know, I help out with, and I'm doing some stuff with Red Seer. So yeah. And it's like, okay, you know, the boring stuff is going to be okay. Like what apps are they running? Right. You know, what code are they running? You know, all the fun stuff like that I don't really talk about online because I just do that offline. But like all the fun stuff or all the boring stuff, excuse me. And then once you're just like, okay, now it's time to exploit. Now it's time to have fun. then, and then it's like, oh shit, now it's the boring shit. Now I have to take snippets. Now I have to write a report, 50 fucking page report. And
Mm-hmm.
then I love debriefing. I enjoy talking to people, but writing
Yeah.
reports, that's why I'm super stoked about the PMPT.
Yep.
I have a little plan. I don't know who I'm going to be talking to. So if anyone's hearing this, I don't know like who does the debriefs, but I had a little joke. Because a lot of people, obviously, I think a lot of people there know me, but it'll be interesting to debrief it with certain folks
Yeah.
and bust their balls. But
You're going in with jokes. I'm going in there with a PowerPoint. Be serious. Give me my cert so I can leave. That's
yeah,
all I want. Give me my 4 letters so I can go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wonder who's doing the debrief because obviously Heath's probably so busy, and I don't know if he
Yeah.
does the debriefs.
I'm sure it's
Um,
other people.
yeah, he
Yeah.
probably has some other folks doing them for him. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And you mentioned obviously in the beginning of the stream about DEF CON,
Mm-hmm.
right? So will this be your first DEF CON?
Yes, and I'm super, super excited. Paul actually, I said his name, but the other guy we hang with, one of my coworkers, really cool guy.
Mhm.
He actually got me tickets for it. I'd never been. I told him I never went, and he surprised me with tickets. So I'm so thankful for
Oh,
him. Yeah.
oh, nice. Now we have to buy. I don't drink alcohol, so I just drink green tea and water. But but yeah, that's awesome. So we owe him something for that. But
I
that's
definitely owe him something.
that's sick. So that's awesome. So have you done any like other conferences like B-sides or any kind of meetups or any other kind of conferences or no?
So back in 2018 here, I am in the DMV area, visiting family for holidays, but I went to a DC, what is it? Capture the Flag event. You had to go
Yep.
through East Station through DC. That's the only conference I was able to ever get in. Oh, it's my sister here. Hi, Brandy. How are you?
Uh,
That was the only conference I was ever able to get into, but I'm very excited for DEF CON. This won't be my last. I'm actually going to come in and fly in a little earlier. For Black Hat, I got an event with one of our vendors at work. I'm going to go to a late night rooftop party with them, rub some shoulders with some CEOs, and hopefully get my name across out there.
that's nice. And that's why I wanted to bring you on. And I was super grateful to have you last minute. And obviously it was a bummer that, it happened like this, but everything happens for a reason, right? So
Yep.
what is the topic? It's about pen testing, getting into pen testing and all that good stuff. So you went to some folks. I mean, you went to some events, and so what do you think the importance of networking and having those connections in the real world or even virtually, right? Because we networked because of Paul, and
Mm-hmm.
we met because of him, and I'm super thankful. And then we all chill and hang out and shoot the
Yep.
shit and hack some stuff. So, what do you think the importance of networking is?
I think networking is everything in your career. I think networking is the most. I think somebody said your net worth depends on your network, and I think that is
Mm,
very. I think that's one of the best things I've ever heard. Because, for instance, if I never ever decided to put myself out there to get the job that I have now, I can't really discuss what I do, but and where I work.
mm-hmm,
But I would have never met our friend Paul, who me and him decided day one we clicked and was like, let's do the OSCP together. And I told you all
mm-hmm,
I was in fear to do it. Like I was so intimidated by it. And we went after it together. And who's to say I probably wouldn't even be certified without him. I've
mm-hmm.
met incredible people. I'm going to shout their names out. Ramadeep Singh. He's my mentor. Amazing, super smart guy. He got me into application security. We can get into that later. I led an application security team for a year. I met him. These are directors and CEOs of big, huge companies. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about some cryptocurrency companies I have, met, rubbed shoulders with. You can say one thing, especially LinkedIn is such a beautiful, I love LinkedIn. It's such a great platform because you can say one thing and a million people can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what job opportunity, you never know who you can meet, who you can, bump into. I would say for anybody new to the field, get on LinkedIn. Any field that you're in, it doesn't matter. Get on LinkedIn and just post, meet, speak, get out of yourself and just know that no question is stupid. That's what I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. And I think that's super important. And I remember I was talking to Kevin KevTech IT support guy, Kevin, and I remember when he said he first started IT, and he would go on Reddit and ask questions, and it would say, "What are you, stupid? Like you don't know that?" And obviously, you're gonna have some of those keyboard gangsters. You know what I mean? Those keyboard warriors out there. And if you haven't heard my story, I'll put that in. Just I'll say it right now so I don't forget. So I had an incident with that, like with the whole networking, and I said the story 6,000 times, so I'll try to make it brief. So what Kevin was saying, I'm like, oh man, that fucking sucks, dude. Like when he told me that, yeah, 2 years ago when when I met him, and literally on one of my YouTube channel or one of my YouTube videos, I was doing Try Hack Me, and I put this out there. I read really slow. I'm not the fastest reader. So I was like reading something, and I had a comment that they said, you read like you a retard, you read like you're retarded, or you read like you have Down syndrome, or something like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? Who is this kid? You know? So make a long story short, that happened like in May or June or something like that last year. And the kid had like his picture on, because when you leave a comment, if you're using your Gmail, you could
Right.
take a snippet. So I did some like recon or whatever. So I found out he was going to DEF CON. This kid was going to DEF CON. And I was walking with a buddy, and I was like, yo, son, like, that's that kid, bro. Like, that's the kid. So I went up to him and I grabbed him by his throat and I stuck him against the wall. You know what
Oh
I
my.
mean? Like, I was, and the point of that is don't be mean to people on the internet, because you never know who you're going to be facing in real life, you know? And that's, and I think I, served that kid a good lesson,
Yeah.
but, and so yeah, like don't be mean, because like I always try to show love, and I always try to, and someone try to, for an example, I made a post recently, about the red team, and then pen testing and red teaming one versus the
Mhm.
other, and I don't want to like someone. I think he said it wasn't malicious, but sometimes if I'm reading something a certain way and you're reading something a certain way, we may be I may be thinking it's one thing, but you
Mhm.
may be interpreting or understanding in another. Like
Correct.
so, yeah, it's interesting, the internet. So obviously, you're going to have some folks that are super nice
Mhm.
and super giving and awesome, and then you're going to have some people that are resistant or a scumbag. You know what I mean? That's the
That's life. For is that Fernando? That I agree. LinkedIn is an amazing tool.
Yep.
I'm probably weird, but I even friend on LinkedIn the people I have interviews with. I actually recently was like, "Oh, can you network with me?" A recent interview I went on, and I was like, "Of course, on LinkedIn, of course." They didn't pick me for the job, but guess what? He actually said he's going to join on here. I have no problem with that. If the
Yep.
perfect person wasn't me, I'm a big believer of what's for me is for me. So don't ever be mad at interviews. Don't burn bridges. You never know when they are looking to see who you really are as a person. They might, what we call spin the block, spin the
Yeah.
block for you. And be
Yep.
like, you know what, you didn't fit this position, but you fit this one, just off of your character. So I would definitely say, regardless of what others do, make sure you are always good in who you are on LinkedIn or in public, period, because who you are is who you are. So when you walk
Yeah.
outside, always present yourself correct.
Yeah.
I try to tell
I,
myself that all the time.
Yeah, 1,000%, and I 100% agree. And that's what I try to do. You know what I mean? Like if I'm on here, just like I say fuck normally, like I don't even think about it. Just a word that just comes out of my mouth. I
Yeah.
talk like that at work. I talk like that like wherever. Like I don't change. I don't flip a switch and like like I need to be a certain way. At least me. And going back to the networking thing, like literally the last, I think three positions I was at, I was referred, or I knew someone. I didn't have to go through that whole interview and do an ATS system and submit resumes and blah blah blah, just because I knew someone. And even when I was at Hack SpaceCon this year, right? I did a workshop. I talked, and then I got connected with Red Seer, and I was like, hey guys, if you guys are looking for a part-time pen tester, I have some time, whatever, after hours or whenever you need, like I'm open for it. And look, I just networked with them, and they have some part-time stuff for me to do outside of if you have a full-time job, they have something for you. If, at least they had something for me. And I was like, okay, cool. And the only reason I got that is because I asked, right? Like if I didn't ask, they would have never known if they had anything. So
Yep.
yeah, I think that's super, super interesting. So we'll go into the next thing is like CTFs, right? I wanted to talk about like for pen testers, we hear like John Hammond, because
Mm-hmm.
John's like big into the CTF world.
Yes.
And before I studied for my OSCP, I never touched a CTF in my life, and I still
Mm-hmm.
don't really like them because they're not really realistic. But what is your take on learning CTFs? You said after the PMBT, you're going to go hack some boxes, and I want to join. Um, it is fun,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a different methodology, or not methodology. It's a different mindset, right?
Yep.
Versus a
It
real pen
definitely is.
test. So, what is your take? Like, what is your thoughts on CTFs?
Before I answer that, Hamza, we're going to answer your question. I see it. But my take on CTFs, I think that it's a good way for you to learn how to think outside the box. The biggest thing about pen testing, a lot of pen testers or new pen testers, I would say new, they don't understand that methodology comes from thinking differently. So you can have a
Mm-hmm.
methodology all day. If
Mm-hmm.
you're, for instance, I'm gonna just tell you something random that actually is a real thing. So you can get assigned to a company to get a pen test done. This is why CTF is so important. CTF is all it is vulnerable boxes where you find a vulnerability to to exploit that machine to get access and to get a flag. That's all it is. And it's different ways to do that. And I believe it's to get your brain to work in different ways because you may see a cron tab and you're like, okay, no, that's not it. But you can hijack that cron tab and then become root. It's all in how you think. See, I would have never
Mm-hmm.
thought like that if I didn't get into CTF. So at a company, you may be tasked with a pen test, and in that pen test, there's no way in. But if you really look hard and you start doing nmap scans of like what you see, it might not be a port that's your way in. It may be a Docker that's your way in. It may be a printer is your way in.
Yes.
So exactly. So it's not always going to be shown on an nmap scan. I think only a CTF can get your mind to think like that. So I really like them.
Awesome. And yeah, I'm just putting some notes. So yeah, so CTF stuff. So what is your favorite CTF platform?
I'm going to be a little biased. Mine is Hack the Box.
Okay.
The reason why is Hack the Box is number one, I think it's really easy for beginners to get into downloading their VPN and then attaching it to their own Kali. Also, if they're not comfortable using that, they also have a platform where you can just use their Kali instance on their website without doing anything extra, like downloading a VPN, which can be hard for somebody who's new
Mm-hmm.
using a Kali Linux machine.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I really like that they have things that are easy, medium, hard, and then they have insane. They also have Windows and Linux, so you can actually get good at both. I definitely like that because, like anyone, when you first start off, I started off on try hack me, which is hand holding, telling me steps. But when you get on Hack the Box, it's pretty much like a real, I would say a real CTF, but because I can't say a CTF is a pen test because it's
Yeah.
not, but it's a real CTF. I think it gives you, let's say you do a 5 point easy box, it gives you the ports that are open. It also gives you a lot of details in the nmaps of like what services are running on that machine, what's
Mm-hmm.
open, what's not open, and things like that. So I think I really like Hack the Box. I think it's cheap too for people who don't have a job or don't make a lot are the
Mm-hmm.
best. Yes, Michael. Hack the Box Pro Labs are the best. I'm almost done, Dante. We're gonna talk about that too. But
Yep.
yeah, Hack the Box is my favorite. For beginners, I would say go to Try Hack Me first, and then get on Hack the Box.
Gotcha. I don't even know if that's how you spell it, but I know what I'm trying
Don't
to
yeah,
say.
it's close.
So, okay, all right. So it sounds good. So we talked about, you getting into some AppSec, that
Hmm.
topic. So what exactly is application security? Like for those that don't know what AppSec is, like what
Perfect.
is what is that?
So, yeah, so AppSec is something that we live in every single day. So let's take YouTube for example. YouTube
Mm-hmm.
is an application. It's a
Mm-hmm.
mobile application. It's a computer application. It's an application. In order for the application to run, developers had to take time to write scripts to create this platform. So application security is pretty much like security over a web server, security over application. It's pretty much the
Mm-hmm.
back end what's running on the back inside that you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
When I say you, I mean like the client can't see, the client side we can't see. We only see a GUI. We see me and Pat speaking, having a good time. We see comments. We don't see the code that's running on the back end. The code that's running on the back end is very vulnerable sometimes. Not sometimes, I'm sorry, a lot of the time, especially in the world we live in today. So application security, if you see through LinkedIn, they're hiring like crazy. It's a growing field. So what I did at application security, I ran an application security team from the ground up, running SAS and DAS scanning, working with developers, learning what hard coding was on the job, learning code, like manual code review on the job. It was like one of the hardest things ever to learn. But you look at pen testing differently. You see it different. The first thing I do now when I go on any web is I hit the view source code page and I'm looking at the code, because I'm going to see, that's another thing that CTF taught me. Look outside the box. Maybe your way in is through the code. You never know. So that's AppSec in a small bit, but it's deeper. They have a new thing called, I know, John, sometimes vulnerable, always vulnerable. They have a new thing. I don't know if it's new. I shouldn't say new, but DevSecOps.
Yep.
That's really good to get into, I heard. So that's something that eventually I want to get to, really pen testing application.
Cool. So that's awesome. Hopefully, that was helpful for a lot of folks. So the next thing, like to talk about is projects, right? So when I say projects, it's like home labs or just like projects putting on GitHub or Medium or LinkedIn or stuff like that. So obviously, remember, this is just for a beginner getting into the field. And what is your take on projects and conveying and putting that out there to folks that are just getting into it? How do you think that's important and relevant to their job search and all that good stuff?
I think setting up your own lab, your own sandbox environment, or signing up for, they have cloud vulnerable pen testing labs. I think that's important because I think a lot of people forget. I think this is a cert heavy industry in like myths. I don't think that's a real thing. When you look at somebody's application, you're looking at experience. So I think projects, their experience, you're at home, you're hacking something, you're learning, you're growing. So if you can hack a lab at home that's web-based, you can take that information onto an interview and literally kill it. So I think that's very important. And you don't have to do a lot of work like setup. I think we can say some at the end, but I have to look them up. But there's cloud-based pen testing labs that are vulnerable that are like maybe $10 a month, and they give you the environment on the website. So you don't even have to set anything up, which is great. It helps. But yeah, I think it's very important.
Yeah. So there is a few. One that looked like a dog. I forget that name of that. But yeah, I forgot the name of that. I think Juice Shop.
Yes,
yeah, Juice Shop
that's the best one, especially for webs. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and I talk about like, it's always for a beginner, and just like we talked about and we did the other night with a home lab, right? I think setting up a home lab is so critical because you're not only learning how to hack, you're learning fundamentals of networking, understanding how networks communicate. What is a host-only address? What is NAT, network address translation? What is bridge? Obviously, you never want to do bridge if you're fucking with malware and stuff like that, because you want it to go onto your host machine and get onto your local network. But the point is, like I always say to folks, if you're trying to learn and you're trying to get into it, like before you even though, you have Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, all the Vuln Hub machines, you have all these platforms that you can download VMs and stuff like that. But I think setting that up, downloading Kali Linux, not just downloading the OVA and fucking double click in and it set it up for you. Actually go through next, set it up your user. And like, obviously once you have experience, like, oh, fuck that. I'm not going to set up this whole shit again. I'm just going to download a VMDK or OVA and, have a preset up for me. But, and then like setting up like Active Directory, setting up, Kali and join these computers to a domain, just having that basic understanding of getting things connected. And if you want to take it a step further, you can install like pfSense. Like I use OpenSense for my communication. So you can have a firewall in place. So now like, you can simulate or emulate an external side on your interface on your router. Your WAN interface can be like a 192.168 address, and then your LAN inside can be a 10.0 address, for example. Now you have to have, not only, NATing but you need access rules, so I can access from quote unquote my, ghetto rigged outside network into my inside. So there's so much benefit to that. And that's what I always go about, like setting up a real project and like, and, then you can go on to Elastic, and then you can get on to like all these other, open source SIMs like Waza, and all this other stuff that you can really, really, you can go really deep into home labbing. But I think that's always beneficial when you're first starting out, because now you can talk to that on an interview. Like, okay, I set this up. I understand all this stuff. So, yeah.
I think that's more like how we did it, but we got to talk about beginners today. Everything is so easy. I remember, if I told you this, you guys will probably laugh. Everybody's watching, but when I first learned Linux, I learned it on a huge like PC, like the big one, and I had CDs of like I had to steal I had to ask my friend to burn it for me, and it was like Ubuntu, and then I had Cent OS on there, and that's how I learned the commands. I had no idea how to work Linux at all at this time in my career. Well, this is before my career started. And I think that comes with passion, something you said when you're trying to get into this when you're trying to get into this field, it's either you want it for a passion or you're doing it for a check. And I think that is what is determining the difference in it. So if you want it, you're going to do that building labs. But if you're just trying to get into it, I would say start off with something easy where you don't have to build, because that is hard for beginners. And you got to remember cybersecurity, everyone's trying to get into it. They're leaving their 10-year career doing law school or whatever and coming to cybersecurity. So if you want to do it that way, do it. But if not, take the easier route. Hey, all the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, so you made a fair point. You made another topic that we could talk about. So you're saying cybersecurity isn't a entry-level field.
No.
Or you said it's not, but you can just like leave your law school and go into cyber.
That's what it seems like on LinkedIn every day.
Yeah, I think, I don't think I think it's a stepping stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, even if it's, because if you think about like an entry-level SOC position, right? Entry-level, that's like the equivalent to like the help desk on the security side, right? So you work as a help desk guy. If you want infrastructure, you want to learn how to servers, fucking AD, basic networking. And now it's like, okay, what is the other side, the cybersecurity side? Okay, you're going to work as a SOC analyst. You're going to look at logs. You look at EDR or, some SIM tool or whatever. And, maybe release some fucking emails and check headers and make sure malware is not embedded and all that stuff. So in order, at least from my perspective, in order for you to do that cybersecurity aspect of the job, you should understand some of this side of the fundamentals prior to getting.
Yes.
So, obviously I know a few people that, and Joe from TCM, the mayor, from what I understood, he was the mayor. He was trying to get into the world of IT and pen testing, but he was trying to go the traditional route, get a job and to a sysadmin, and no one ever hired him. And I think this is Joe, if you ever listen to anyone at TCM, whatever, slap me in the face when you see me. But I think he was the one, Heath was the one that he reached out to, like on LinkedIn or whatever, and said, "Hey, Heath, I love your shit. I want to get into pen testing. No one's giving me a chance. Can you give me a chance?" And look at a guy now, right? He's fucking killing it. So obviously there is those unicorns, but, I think at the end of the day, having that, left side fundamentals going into the cybersecurity side will definitely be beneficial, at least from my perspective. I don't know.
No, I feel like that is absolutely true. I did see that. I did want to answer a couple questions before we forget, if you want to wait. I seen one that was, the first one was Hamza. Yes. You can set up a labs like OWASP WebGo. You do need an account for TryHackMe and Hack the Box. TryHackMe, I believe, if you do not want to set up your own Kali VM on your own computer, I think it's like $14 a month. I think it's like $10 a month. That's USD if you have your own. The second one I saw. Okay, John said, what are some good beginner-friendly AppSec projects that people can do so that they don't get overwhelmed? I would definitely say this, and this sucks. application security is nothing about it is beginner friendly at all. Just like cybersecurity, I believe, you believe, a lot of people believe it's not beginner friendly at all. It is not I'm going to be a cybersecurity analyst tomorrow. No, it is you have to start somewhere to get somewhere. Application security, I can't even say something that's beginner friendly that would even make sense. You would definitely have to learn and be in cybersecurity for some time, maybe 2 to 3 years to even understand or grasp application security. But if you are willing to learn as a beginner, I would definitely get into, I looked online because I wanted to see, I didn't get that easy route of beginner, but they have a malware analysis sandbox environment that they said is beginner friendly to teach you the back ends of code and learning how to read code. They also have a phishing simulation to teach you the background of how emails are sent and how they can, you can do a whole campaign. I might do this myself, actually. And you can simulate phishing emails, and you can also get the code from the back end and learn how it's set up. AppSec, not necessarily InfoSec. Oh, AppSec. Let me get back to you because I actually have a book that I had to read for my AppSec program, and it was beginner friendly, and it actually has some labs in there. I actually tell you the book in 1 second, John. But that's all the questions. So back to the topic you said.
Yeah, I think Michael had something. If you're willing to work, I think so. I don't know if it's a question,
Sorry,
but
Michael.
if you're willing to work in this,
okay, this one is good. Faison, hope I said your name right. What's a realistic timeline for breaking into that first pen test opportunity after getting a tier 1 help desk job? So pen testing and help desk are different fields inside of IT. Help desk is more IT. And normally most companies want you to have some type of IT experience before you hop over to cybersecurity. Help desk is normally the role of you sit at a desk or you sit at home. I think it's work from home now. When I did it, it wasn't. You answer phone calls internally and help them with password unlocks, printers, new software being they need a administrative code in order to download software. For me, I had to work in Thycotic, switching passwords, making sure servers were turned on and off. First line of defense for somebody having a virus. Now, you don't take care of anything with a virus on a help desk, but you're the one who sends it up the chains, emails, things like that. That's what help desk is. It's normally to get you used to a Windows machine. It gets you used to customer service. It gets you used to speaking to clients. It's a way to get you skilled fully in IT before you go to the next step. Pen testing is a specialty within cybersecurity. Pen testing is where we basically find flaws, vulnerabilities within a network, within an application, within, that fall back on API mobile devices. And then we are able to try to exploit those devices, servers, networks. We try to exploit those. And if we're successful, then we write a long report and debrief the upper people, CEOs, CTOs, CISOs, and things like that. So after getting your first tier 1 help desk job, you will not be doing any pen tests. You would have to definitely get into pen testing and be trusted before they would ever allow you to do something like that.
Yeah. And I wanted to add on that because I remember back in the old days as help desk or sysadmin, because you made a good point, like, if you have a virus, you're going to escalate that up to whatever, the SecOps team. That's now, right? When I started, almost 20 years ago now, when I was working as a help desk person, or I never really worked help desk because I'm going to be honest, I didn't like to talk to people on the phone. And I tried it for like 2 weeks and I was just hanging up on people because they were saying stupid shit. So it wasn't for me. But then I got into, network system. I was actually a bench tech, like replacing hard drives and all that stuff. And then I got into like system admin stuff. So, but, it overlaps, if you're sysadmin, depending on how big the company is. But you said something interesting about the viruses, right? I remember when I was a help desk or a sysadmin or whatever, if someone got a virus, it was our job. We didn't have a security team, right? We would contain the machine and run like malware bytes or SCP or semantic endpoint protection, or this is when there's now there's 0 days and there's EDRs with anomalies. Back then it was signature based, so it's like so much different. So it's like a help desk now. I think I'm jealous because the help desk, those folks now are learning so much more
Mm-hmm.
in regards to what's going on in the world than like when I was a quote unquote junior sysadmin or help desk on steroids or whatever you want to fucking call them. But it's just it's a different world today. So like as a help desk, I wish Kevin was in the chat because he's in cyber now. He's doing like some entry level cybersecurity stuff with Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft endpoint protect. I don't know whatever he's doing, but and he comes from that help desk, sysadmin, service desk background. So it's like I remember when he was even telling me like, oh, like as a service desk, yeah, you have to deal with, the users and everything like that. But on top of it, you have to do some kind of security stuff. And to what you were saying, even like if you're touching network maps, well, network drives, and then you're like doing NTFS permissions and share permissions, you have to be careful because my days, if Mikayla called me up and I can't access the D or the F drive for whatever, the Q drive for QuickBooks, you know what I mean? And I would just go on the file server, go to, right click, go to properties, go to whatever security, hit edit, add Mikayla, hit full access just so fucking Mikayla doesn't call me back, hit reply, have a reef, and then now she has access, right? Now I don't have to worry about, so that's security. And obviously a lot of sysadmins, that's why today pen testing is so important for organizations because we can find those loopholes and try to have those internal companies remediate those. So yeah, that's just my take. It's my little storytelling.
No,
time.
that's actually true. But before I lose this, John, I lied to you. It was a book, but I did that second. The first thing I did was Introduction to Application Security, and it's on Udemy, and it's by Christopher Lampelaire. And he actually teaches you how to build your own environment, and he teaches you how to explore the OWASP top 10 web application risk and frameworks and things like that. That would be beginner friendly for application security. I want to answer this last question, and then we can get into like working as a woman in this field because it's crazy. Yeah. And everything else. But it says, what's your favorite part about working in penetration testing? I think that's for both of us. We're both in there. For me, it's the lifestyle. If he's watching, Preston is actually, I used to see his lifestyle on LinkedIn. He would post, he would travel, and then he worked, and then he, had a lot of money and things like that. And I was like working at help desk broke, like living with my mom, asking her for money every other week. I was driving a beat up Altima, and I was just like, man, I'm already interested in this. And I feel like it's gonna take me a long time. But honestly, I love the fact that I get to work, enjoy my work, support myself, greatly and my family. And also I'm not stressed out to the point of, I hate my job. I just want to change my career. I love the fact that I'm able to use my mind daily in pen testing. Like I said, a balance of life. We have to be realistic. You do not pen test every single day. That's why I said it's a great balance. Sometimes you can go weeks without pen testing. A lot of people don't know that. You can go months sometimes without pen testing. That's just real world. So it's a great balance. You learn so much. You're constantly learning. So you're never bored at work. You're not one of those people that's going to sit in front of a computer for 30 years and just, that's Bob, retiring and not happy. No, you're going to live I feel like your best life being a pen tester. I know people will be like, you don't want to be a doctor. No, I'm glad I got out of that. I would be on my feet and sitting in surgery. No. And the funny part is, this is hilarious. Some of you guys would know, but some of us make more than emergency room doctors. And that's a fact. So you got the best of the worlds. I get to sit down and chill and have a good time, meet a lot of people, and I don't have to do surgery, man. So for you, what's your favorite part of pen testing?
My favorite part is, I think, continuously learning something new and pen testing different things. Like I said, like one month you can be on a social engineering engagement, like doing some fun stuff, talking smack, calling a client and BSing them, or talking to them, say, oh, you want to get the latest and greatest food stamp card? Hey, go to this website and sign up today, and then they can just go there and sign up, and now we just harvest their credentials, right? So, or you can be, like you said, like an external, and we can do stuff with finding, doing some OSINT, fun OSINT stuff, or you can be doing physical. I like physical pen testing, right? You can go out to
to experience that. I never got to do that yet.
Yeah. I've done a few. I think I did 5 in my career so far, 5 or 6.
I can't wait to see you in Paul's Thursday.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
good at that.
yeah, yeah, and we'll do some stuff. When we link up in Vegas.
Oh, for sure.
I'll bring some, my lock picking tool. I'll bring some of
I'll
my
bring my
stuff.
set too. I do have a
Yeah,
nice set.
yeah, and it's just interesting, right? Because hacking is so broad, right? You can hack anything. Like anything is a hack. Like if you have a pill, right? You take that pill out and you put it on the thing and you snort it. I don't know why I'm saying that, but
Oh
that
my God.
you just hack that pill, right? I'm just saying that because I have my vitamins right here. I
You
need to take.
manipulated it. That's what it's all
Yeah,
about. Manipulation.
exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
it's about.
Yeah. So before we get into the woman thing, I did have one question. So it's sort of like, what your favorite part was. Awesome. I really like that. So what has been the most interesting hack or interesting pen test that you've been on that like, fuck, this is an awesome story to tell, like,
Um,
or finding, or like, oh shit, I own this domain or whatever. I got this because, dumb
I have
left.
one, but I have to see if I can say it without saying it because it still can mess that company up till this day.
No, you don't have to,
No, I'm not
just
going to say
talk.
the company name. I just want to make sure I speak correctly and stay on my P's and Q's when I tell this story. But I do have an amazing one. It was on the company's website. It was a web application pen test on the company site. I was able to capture a user's credentials, which was I made my own account. And then on the account, I have some type of reward. So the company, if you buy something, you get these rewards. When you have umpteen amount of a reward, you can get this dollar amount worth of product.
It's like Bravo points.
Kind of like that, correct. So I was able to create an account, just a regular basic account. I knew the password to it and everything. So what I did was I was able to create the account. And what I did was I tried to manipulate the account that I made through Burp Suite, just capturing data, information, and things like that. So what I did was I had a fake gift card, $5 gift card that was worth umpteen points. And this was all just to test something. Now, what I was testing was users were calling into the customer service line, telling them that, hey, my account bought X amount of dollars worth of product, but that wasn't me. And it didn't come to my address. So how did you guys allow that? So they were like, okay, Mikayla, go test it out and see if this is real. So I said, okay, let me see if I can how I can get into someone's account, capture the data. So what I did was I tried my own account first, captured it through Burp Suite, didn't see anything special. I said, okay. So I was like, I don't really see anything. How is this possible? So what I did was I had a coworker create an account that I had no idea what the password was, the username or anything. I used a lot of, I did know the username. I didn't know the password. I did some brute forcing, just regular script kiddie things. And I was able to get the password. Once on my, coworker's account, not only was I able, after I captured it through Burp, now I'm talking about regular Burp, not Burp Suite Pro, regular. I was able to capture the fake credit card number on there. I was also able to, can you believe this? Change the address, change everything, the password, and change the email that it goes to, all through Burp. Just repeat it and keep sending that same token over and over again, that session token over and over again. Sure. I was like, this was like the coolest thing. And still to this day, that company still hasn't fixed that problem. Yeah. I wish I can say the company's name because it's straight up.
Yeah.
To both things. But it's a big company. Oh, dag. I got to delete. Well, if you go on my LinkedIn, you might can figure it out. But other than that, it was pretty fun. It was the best part was to tell the CEO, not the CEO, I'm sorry, the CTO of what was going on because, CTOs, they go off of metrics and they go after what makes them look good. So that didn't quite make him look good. So he was kind of pissed. Was this a production environment? Well, yes, it had to be on production. It's a big, well-known Fortune 500 company. Yes, it was on production. Yes, we had to. Normally, we do not do pen tests on on production environments at all. You're really not supposed to, but in this case, it was over umpteen amount of customers. I put money on it that it's not patched. I don't believe they know how to, but yeah, not patched. There was
So
a
John,
question somebody, but that was the most fun. The hardest one, I can just answer this if you guys want to know. The hardest pen test I've ever done was API pen testing. That was super hard. I was learning on the fly, but it's very interesting when you get into it. I'm still not good at it. I'm okay. I can do a
Mhm.
little bit. That was the hardest pen test I've ever done, and that was with a different company.
Yeah.
Um, it says right here, what are some estimates on how you spend your time as a penetration tester, reporting, testing, learning? So when we say that we don't pen test all the time, I don't want anyone to think that we just sit around, collecting money. No. So what Pat said earlier, when we research, we do a lot of researching. We do other things like vulnerability management, AppSec, helping recode. We have to use our skills in other facets for the company. It's not just always pen testing. So when we're not pen testing, that's what we're doing. Also, we're allowed, most technical companies allow you to have up to maybe 3 hours a day if work is slow to study, for just to get better. If you get better, it helps them.
Mhm.
So when it says right here as a pen test, so when we're on a pen test engagement, it's a scope. So let's say the scope is 6 weeks. So within those 6 weeks, we spend the first week doing OSINT, especially if it's external black box. We're really doing hard OSINT because we need to get in. Testing, we'll probably do testing for a 6 week engagement, 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, because we need a week to go over everything, make sure we close out, make sure we clean up, make sure we didn't miss anything, and also do maybe a retest really quick on certain things that we missed. And then reporting, I like to take my time on reporting. All of us do, because one little mistake or miss, it can really cost the company millions of dollars. So reporting can take up to 2 weeks, and then you want to 4 to 5 days for review, grammatical mistakes and things like that. So that's pretty much how pen testers spend their time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, blah, blah, there. So, do you participate in any bug bounty programs? And what do you do if the company refused to pay for a vulnerability you discovered?
So I've never participated in a bug bounty program, but I've seen a lot of people post on LinkedIn that they didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Sorry, John said something funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually
I
have a
don't
lot.
really know what they would do. I did receive an email at one of the companies I worked for. They were like, "Hey, I found a vulnerability. I'm going to give you half of it, pretty much, and if
Mhm.
you prove that this part was real, can you guys pay me?" They didn't pay that person, so they never gave the second half. But that's a good thing for pen testers like myself, because it makes us better, because I have to find that other half, which I had to do. I had to find that. And then it took some time, but that makes it better for you because you learn and you grow and things like that. I don't want
Yep.
to like run out of
So,
time, but
no,
we can.
it's fun. I don't have any hard time. There's no hockey on tonight. Hockey's over. So yeah. So I guess the last topic and the most important thing, we'll save it for last, is working in cyber or getting into cyber as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel? Like tell me how your journey has been, and what are your thoughts for anyone else out there that's a woman that wants to get into cybersecurity?
I think my experience may be different from others, but I would definitely say this, and I'm sure men will be so shocked that I'm going to say this, but I've had an amazing experience in cybersecurity as a woman. I have been the only woman on every single team that I've ever been on, except for one, but she wasn't even on my team. She just was under the same management. And the men there never made me feel uncomfortable. They never made me feel less than. They always, my opinion mattered.
Mm-hmm.
I was just as smart as everyone in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a point sometimes when I'm going to be honest. My coworkers are amazing. My personal managers, everyone I work with, have been amazing. But sometimes when you are a woman and you step foot in those rooms with the CEOs, CTOs, CFOs, and you have to present things, they do not listen to you sometimes the same as they will listen to a man saying the exact same thing. I have noticed that. I used to have really like thin skin about it. And I used to like, one time I came home crying about it. I called my mom telling her like, they don't respect me. Am I smart enough? And it kind of made me
Mm-hmm.
feel, kind of less than. And my mom explained to me that sometimes it's easier coming from a man to another man, just like it's easier for a woman to hear another woman.
Yep.
And she said, what you do is you don't change who you are. You continue to be respectful, professional, come with your A game. And before I knew it, that actually propelled me to be who I am today. The search that I hold, the experience that I have, that actually made me be better, because I'm like, no, I want them to respect me. I want them to see me. I want them to treat me as an equal, because I'm just as smart. I'm just as knowledgeable. And sometimes I have to be honest, sometimes in those rooms, I was the most knowledgeable out of my teammates, but I had to understand that I couldn't force myself, because you also don't want to be like that. What is that? That angry, emotional woman. You don't want to portray
Yeah.
that either.
Yeah.
So, but I would definitely say an overall experience for any woman in the field. Don't be scared. Take opportunities. Learn. You are just as valuable. And like I said, every man that I've worked with, every manager, director has treated me nothing but respect. And they hired me. Shoot, they put me on
Yeah.
their team. So it's been a good experience. And all of my friends are guys, like Pat, like Paul. Me and Paul talk every day. Like
Yep.
all my old coworkers, they're all men. I love all their wives. So it's like they all have to beat me. They're like, who is this girl, Mikayla? They beat me. They're like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. It's just, like I said, it's a good experience. For everybody who had every woman who had a bad experience, I think just keep going, keep trying. Go to another company, you'll get a better experience.
Yeah. So I had one more thing and then we'll wrap up. So we are studying for the PMPT. I
Yep.
think she's going to beat me to the race because she's eager
Yes.
beaver. So after, PMPT, I'm sure you're probably going to chill out maybe after DEF CON. What is next for Mikayla?
What is next for Mikayla? Hopefully my mom's not watching so I can tell the truth. So my mother wants me to be a wife and a mother. I don't know if that's Mikayla right now. So she wants me to stop. But for Mikayla after PMPT, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go to DEF CON, enjoy the rest of the summer. I am in between. Should I go hard in web app or should I go hard in red teaming? I'm not quite sure yet, but I think my heart is leaning more towards web app right now, because I feel like I'm just not where I should be in web app. I don't know as much, and I feel like that's where I lack. Even in interviews, I can hear myself, and I don't really like that. So I want to get stronger in that area, especially before I would say I'm looking to get the PWPT. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Probably before the end of the year. That would be nice to have. But yeah, probably that's where Mikayla probably would go. I'm also looking for opportunities. So if anybody here on here looking for a pen tester, application security lead, vulnerability management, I am open to work as well.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Yeah. We're going to follow that journey right after a PMPT. I think I'll probably chill out for a bit and then, go maybe for the junior web app tester.
yeah, we
And
should go for that together for sure.
That's an area that I'm weak, or I think I'm weak. I feel like, I'm the same exact way. If I'm talking to someone about that, I can hear myself like, oh shit, like what am I even saying? Like, oh, demonstrate how you would go about doing a web app test. I don't fucking know. Like, go to the website and then open up Burp Suite and hit a button and see what happens. And so it's like, what is really, because it's funny because, and this will be my last thing because I can go on a rant. I did a web app pen test, and it was, WordPress, CMS, and then like this, I'm like, then I was able to get like a shell, get into WP admin and guess the password and get into it and get onto their Linux server. I'm like, is that a web app pen test? I don't fucking know. Is that considered? I don't know. If that is, I guess I'm okay at web app. But when I think about web app, it's more like code. When I think about like just code, I'm like, I'm shit with code. And I always make this funny reference. It's like, you can give me fully broken code and fully patched code. They don't look different to me. They all look the same shit. But unless you run it through like something that's like, oh, dumb, this fucking thing's all jacked up.
Yeah, that's why they have tools like Veracode to help us out. But
exactly. But yeah, I really appreciate it, Mikayla. I know we're gonna probably get on some studying tonight, get some stuff done. But anyone else that was chiming in tonight, how can they connect with Mikayla if they wanted to connect with you, ask you questions about whatever, and network with you?
Sure. I would love for you all to add me on LinkedIn. My name is Mikayla London, just how it's spelled below. If you call me Kay, I would love you extra month, extra, just so much more if you call me Kay. But yes, that's on my LinkedIn. I'm going to, if you want to email me personally, it's going to be mlondon, BWICS. That stands for Black Women in Cybersecurity. It's a group that I'm in at gmail.com. And that's mlondon, BWCIS. No, BWICS at gmail.com. You got to write that down for me. But that's how you link with me, network with me. I'm pretty open. I talk to everybody. If you're at DEF CON, if you see me, say something, please.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much. I want to say, thank you for coming on tonight. Last minute, same day. And to anyone else that ever wants to come on the show, hit me up. You know where to find me, pat@infosecpat.com or LinkedIn or whatever, and we'll get you on the books. I want to say thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful night, everyone.
Yes, thank you.